Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/JustNoMil. In today's episode, MIL pushed me to the edge today. My JNMIL is sneakily trying to move in. My mom's emotional affair with my ex-husband. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. MIL pushed me to the edge today. If you read my previous post about my JNMIL, you can see how crazy she is. She said some nasty things before, but what she said today really took the cake. My fiancé and I went to her house to go over rules with her. She was obviously unhappy but stayed quiet. Fiancé went outside with his dad after we all talked to help him with something, and MIL starts talking to me about the rules and complaining, and literally out of nowhere says, "I'm so glad I'm the baby's only grandma. At least I won't have to share him or compete to be the favorite," and starts hysterically laughing. My mom died from cancer 2 years ago and it devastated me. She knows her death sent me into a depressive suicidal spiral that I'm still coming out of. It was the hardest thing I've had to go through, and I've made it very clear several times how sad I am that my mom isn't here to see me become a mom and spend time with her newest grandchild. She was an amazing grandma and would do anything for her kids and grandkids. My JNMIL knows all of this and still decided to make that comment. I called her rude and said she will be lucky to even meet her grandchild after making a comment like that, and left. I didn't tell fiancé what she said until we got home because I was trying not to cry. He was pissed beyond belief and texted her calling her disgusting. She tried saying she never said that and I'm lying about it for attention and to get fiancé to turn against her and to not let her see the baby when he's born. I am so disgusted and hurt right now. I don't even know what to say or do. I'm thankful fiancé knows his mom and knows that I'm telling the truth. I don't understand how he came out of that vile woman and ended up so sweet, caring and thoughtful. Nope. That's the end. Baby has no grandmothers now and she has nobody to blame but herself. Oh, I started taping my JNMIL before we went in. See. Got some real gems saved for prosperity, like her mocking my dead father. I've got a few things recorded that she said, so I had proof, but unfortunately this time I left my phone in the car as it was supposed to be a brief visit to go over rules once the baby is born. She will not be seeing me, her son, or grandson until she apologizes and makes an actual effort and commitment to changing her shitty behavior. I'd tell her that even in death, your mom is a better person and a better grandparent than her, so there is no competition. She lost. I am so sorry for your loss. Truly. Apparently this heinous hasn't heard it's wrong to throw shade. When you are strong enough to use this, my gift to you as a daughter whose mom died suddenly of cancer is this statement. You could stand on a skyscraper and never measure up to the amazing person my mother was, so stop comparing yourself. You aren't relevant enough to be a yardstick. Drop the mic, walk off. LCML has never crossed that boundary because I made it absolutely clear through story that mom had an army of defenders and celebrators besides me. But I kept that statement close for years just in case. I hope you never have to use it. She would be dead to me and my baby. I'm a fantastic grandma. Happy to be there for little one. I'm also a pretty good mom and MIL. I don't interfere. I don't push for grandkids. I'm all about my kids living their best lives. If my kids are happy, I'm happy. I'm so sorry about the loss of your mom. I'm more sorry what a horrible MIL you have. My mom was a literal angel. When my brother was deployed, his wife at the time was struggling at home raising 2 boys and working, so my mom moved down there for 4 months to help her out. If her kids needed anything, no matter what it was, she would drop everything to help. She loved her kids and absolutely adored her grandkids. We were truly her pride and joy, and all she wanted for us was to be happy. I really don't understand how my fiancé is the way he is coming from the family he has. Are you actually going to see her again? Will you be letting her see your baby after this? How could your husband ever forgive her for hurting you like this? What a monster. No, no, we're going in see until she sincerely apologizes and makes an effort to correct her behavior. She will have to get back in my good graces before she is allowed to even look in Elo's direction. My JNMIL is sneakily trying to move in. I had posted my story in another MIL group and someone referred me to this sub. The title says it all. Sorry for the long post, but I need help. When my husband and I first met, he was living with her parents. I asked him to move out with me when time came, but he said no, not yet. I understood since his mother had some abandonment issues since my SAL had run away from home and my ILs do not speak English, so he helps out with a lot. We got married and our jobs made us move away. After a year of living in the new town, we had found a great starter home to buy. I had called MIL to ask what was the exact model of the blender I gifted her a few years back since she and I both love it and I wanted to get the same. She was very sweet and offered to bring it when she came. I said no, it was a gift for her. She is baffled by why we would need 2 blenders in the house. Turns out she thought she was moving in with us the day we were moving into the house. Instances like this have happened so often. I should mention MIL doesn't work and FIL was recently retired at the time. When it was time for our first baby, she asked when she and FIL should come see the baby. I had asked to come a few weeks after she was born due to the pandemic. They aren't exactly safe, and I wanted my mom over to help. MIL, maybe, said something to husband to make it a competition between her and my mom. She came the day I was getting induced. They stayed 5 weeks, bags were packed with almost everything in their closets, and only left BCMIL hurt her back. She conveniently hurt her back when we asked for help ever. They did not help at all the whole time and added more work for me and husband like us figuring out what we're cooking for everyone for dinners and translating their mail. I left for my mother's 3 days and so they would come to my mother's every day so my mom would be stuck cooking and cleaning after them. They had no issues staying at our house without us or imposing on my mother. They keep coming and staying 4 to 5 weeks at a time. They only leave when they have some event back home or if MIL conveniently wants to leave when I need help schedule-wise if work and the baby schedules clash. They never tell us they're coming. We got the dreaded call yesterday, Monday, Memorial Day, that they're coming this weekend. There goes my privacy, my safe space, and my infant's schedule. I'm losing my mind. My husband told them don't come, but I doubt that'll change their mind. Last time we told them we're busy, they said okay and still showed up. They're okay with staying at the house without us and have done so before. Edit. I can't tell them to go to the hotel. It's a cultural thing. My husband calling them and telling them don't come makes them delay their trip by coming 1 week later only. I'm not sure what to do. My parents agree that they're setting themselves up as if they're moving here. They ask my parents to introduce them to their friends so they have people to hang out with. My in-laws do not speak English so they are limited in how to make friends. I know my in-laws. They have no problem going to someone's house every day and eating dinner at their house every day. I don't want them imposing on my parents' friends. My parents are not in town this summer mostly so running away to their home this time isn't an option. Also my MIL is very awkward. She has a really bad habit of staring at me when I'll be doing something like washing dishes or just eating. I need help what to do about that also. I literally cannot think anymore. I stare back. She'll look away and then when I look away, she stares again. Reading this gave me a headache. No means no, culture or otherwise. They call and say they're visiting? Sorry, that doesn't work for us. We will invite you to come and stay. If they show up even after you say no, don't answer the door. Dead serious. If they have a key, change the locks. There's maybe 3 people on the planet other than my parents who have an open invitation to stay at my house if they need to, and all of them would wait to be invited. We bought a house and I specifically got just enough bedrooms for our needs so that people couldn't invite themselves to stay. I like my space and do not like houseguests. My in-laws are nice, but they are a source of anxiety for several reasons, and I would rather have my fingernails yanked out than host in-laws for multiple weeks at a time uninvited. No is a complete sentence. Start using it and standing behind it. Hubby 2. What language do they speak? Depending on their area, interpreter and immigrant services are available, along with services to help them manage their own lives without imposing on you. No is a full sentence. I'd get myself 3 inches away from MIL's face and follow her, staring at her until she completely leaves the room. I'd add in heavy nostril breathing too. Rinse and repeat. What culture is against getting a hotel? None. You can tell them to go to a hotel. Change the locks, do not let them in. Grow a spine. Come on. No, love. You only think you can't tell them to go to a hotel. Those words will work just fine when being spoken from your mouth. You can also say to them, this is not a good time for you to visit. Your vocabulary also includes the words to form phrases like, you cannot stay within our home. Forget the excuse of cultural BS. If your husband isn't strong enough to correct their behavior and trains of thought, then you have to be that strong. It's a cultural thing. Till that being super rude is cultural. Yes, it is. You should see the rest of his family. The rest of the cousins' wives are dealing with crazy stuff like this. At least mine aren't a part of a religious cult like some of the other MILs. Being South Asian is the worst thing sometimes. I know it is much easier said than done, but you do know that you can just not let them in, right? And I absolutely understand that you would hesitate to do this. But it's either turning them away or letting them in and suffer through their visit. Ultimately, it really is your decision, if you choose to suffer through this multiple times a year. Also, if you want to turn them away and your husband won't support you, go stay with your patents until they leave. And while you are there, don't let him or his parents visit at your parents'. That's how they've left. Every time I leave for my parents, they finally leave. The first time though, they stayed at our house for weeks when we were not there. They have no issue. They say, oh, don't worry, we'll stay here without you. Sorry, this is really a husband problem. He has to make it clear that they are to stop showing up so often. He should be specific they can come for a long weekend every 3 months. Something along those lines. They will ruin your relationship by sponging off you and your parents so often. He has to say the words, and then not let them in when they show up anyway. Consequences just like with a child. To be clear is to be kind, that's the motto. Your husband needs to handle his parents. If they show up, don't answer the door, you are not a hotel and they were not invited. If you leave and go to your mom's house, do the same thing there. They were not invited, do not answer the door. If you are afraid of the confrontation, park your car around the corner so they don't see it in the driveway, but you need to stop this practice now. Time to tell them no and change the locks. I see that they just come anyway in other comments, but so what? Don't let them in. You need to tell them that visits need to be cleared with you first, and that with a growing family and the need for privacy, you can no longer host them. They can get a hotel. Don't be a doormat, y'all are letting them absolutely trample you. My mom's emotional affair with my ex-husband. So I recently reconnected with my ex-husband's sister. She is very just yes, but we live in a small town, and we have a lot of common ground as far as our positions in our respective families. I have always been curious about how she felt about the fallout between me and my ex-husband, and she let me know that I was definitely not imagining things. She told me she knew without a doubt that my mother's relationship with him was inappropriate. She told me that she always felt like my mother was attracted to him and liked butting into our relationship and taking his side in fights just because she enjoyed his attention. What they had was nothing less than an emotional affair, with my mom being a predator to my 18-year-old, at the time, partner. She told me that my mother tried to vent to her a few times when I was trying to get to the bottom of her motives and was so pissed that she didn't do much to defend herself and just resorted to insulting me. In my ex-SAL's words, I don't think she would have been so intensely defensive if she didn't know for a fact that her motives were coming from a bad place. I shouldn't leave out that my mom repeatedly mentioned how good-looking and attractive he was, how he would have been her type 20 years ago. At first I thought she was just talking to him to annoy me and be nosy, but now I see that she was in a true competition with me to see if she could hold the attention of my partner. Which also explains why she hates my ex-husband's new wife. Ex and I were very young when we were together, by the way, and have no ill will toward each other. She stopped the over-personal conversations and urged him to stop paying my mother's bills. Also explains why, when my husband didn't help her gang up on me because she wanted to name our baby, she went from adoring him to speaking about him like one of those nice guys who start calling girls fat and ugly when they get rejected. I'm so disgusted with the idea that my mother feels like she has to win the attention of the men I'm with to prove something to herself. And I know it's two birds with one stone, to hurt me and to validate herself. There are several instances where she has started trashing me to people who adored me and helped her out with things simply because of her proximity to me. She truly is bothered by anyone loving me and wants to crush it, but it has backfired for the most part because it's generally unbecoming for a woman to bash her own child and go after the men her child is dating. She has called me crazy for the past few years every time I've tried to talk about it. Thank God to my ex-SAL for the affirmation and confirmation. The worst part about all of it is being told that you aren't seeing what your eyes are looking at. Wow! Your mom is so jealous of you, she tried to destroy your relationships. That is sick. It is extremely disturbing that she has been competing with you and then denies it. Now you know how toxic she is. She is one of those women who has to compete with other women for her own self-esteem. It is sad that she would compete with her child. Good for you for being NC. What a sick woman. I'm so sorry. My mother, who recently passed, slept with my ex-husband, father of my children. I sympathize with you. They say the daughters of female narcissists have the absolute worst time of it because they become competition. This is exactly the case with your mother. She's wildly jealous of you. Just toxic beyond belief. My grandfather, may he rot in his grave, did this to my mom and aunts. He'd go after their boyfriends. My mom knew my dad was the one when my dad shut down grandpa's advances. Or my grandpa wasn't attracted to my dad. Can't remember. I'm sorry, what? How many boyfriends did grandpa seduce? Wow. That's a lot for you. Honestly, if you are in contact, I'd put her on a strict info diet. I'm so sorry you were treated like that. That's unimaginably horrid on so many levels. I'm dumbstruck. Hugs from this internet stranger. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.